Do you know what social selling is? Or why your sales manager keeps asking you to get on LinkedIn? Only 3% of hotel salespeople are consistently engaged there, so the mystery of why continues. So that's why I've invited former hotel sales director and LinkedIn trainer Celeste Berke Knisely to help make sense of it all. Would you like to know how to generate more direct sales in hospitality with social selling? Then check this out. So hi Celeste, nice to see you on a Friday. Welcome to the Instinct Show. How are you doing?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. A little bit gray here in Denver and off 30 days of someone in this house having the stomach flu. So we are hoping that we are on the mend for the until the next year when it rears its ugly head.
I think, as I mentioned before, I remember those days fondly, like a kind of a weird way. I wish my kids would hang out with me once in a while. So a lockdown here and there, not necessarily a bad thing, but I understand absolutely. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I'm excited to be here, talk all things social selling as it relates to hospitality, one of our favorite topics, as we both have such a love for this industry, but also really big shoes for the industry to fill in the coming years.
Indeed, indeed. That topic you brought up, still a little bit unknown, foreign to some people. So what is social selling anyways?
In the clearest, I guess, elementary form, social selling is building relationships, taking someone through the sales process or prospecting on a social channel. So most of us are used to face-to-face, right? Riding an elevator, or going and seeing someone in real time. And COVID has sped up the need for people to really dive into social selling. So meeting our customers where they are in an online space, which I know we'll get into for many in the hospitality industry, seems really icky and unknown. So let's debunk that today.
Wonderful. And you hit it right on the head. In fact, it's in some instances, the whole concept really even isn't about selling, but building relationships, building trust with somebody you don't know, because it oftentimes the products and services that we're selling are not low price items. They require a lot of thought process, a lot of trust, and you just don't impulse buy an event or a software package, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's interesting to see if that terminology will change, social selling to maybe relationship selling, and not even selling. I've had to
Exactly.
just talk with a team of let's look at the term selling as well, because this isn't just for our sales team members. This is anybody within an organization that touches upon a relationship, right? Because we have this 6 or 7 degrees of separation from this one person. Like, who do they know? Who do they know? Who do they know? So it's building a relationship in an online channel. And most of us didn't come up through a traditional sales methodology where someone would say, this is how you talk to someone when you can't see them, right? When you're not face to face.
Right.
There's some interesting statistics out there by Gartner that by 2025, 85% of all selling will take place in a digital channel. So we have some work to do as an industry to make up that gap.
Absolutely. Really great stat. Love Gartner and Forrester. A stat to support that difference in how buyers buy. So much of it's going to be self-guided, right? So we need to change what we're doing. In fact, I had a great conversation with one of our clients. Imagine this. They're considering posting their meeting rates on their website. That would have been unheard of. But to qualify them so the sales team can get more precise and work on those conversations that matter, right? And
Well, and it comes to the ease of the buyer. So much of the buying process takes place ahead of time. So you talk about building relationships, right? So you build that out for your customers. How do we bring more people in so that you can have more conversations, but that people are also aware of you ahead of time? So when I work with teams, so many of them are still stuck in this thread of I get an RFP, I respond to it, then it goes off to the RFP gods for someone to make a decision. And then we're constantly, crossing our fingers that we're going to get this RFP. Versus I built a relationship with however many people ahead of time. When an RFP comes, if I don't win it, I have a relationship with that company. I've built trust with them. I know 3 to 4 people at the company. When they want to book an event, they know of me because they've seen me online. They've seen the emails that our team has been sending out that provide value. Many of us were brought up to talk about, these are the benefits and the features of what we're selling. And most people can find that online, or they already know what your benefits and features. They want that relationship. So we have to move away from the sprint tactic to this marathon tactic, which often means planting seeds now for future.
Love that. And even you mentioned features and that whole concept of feature dumping, right? Where sometimes we get on the phone and it's like, I only have 10 minutes. I'm going to have to just blah all the stuff that my product or service officers, when in reality, some of those things might not even matter or mean, or you might even confuse the prospect. And it's such an incredible, important part. So for the seasoned 25-year-old hotel veteran that's listening to us right now, why should they care?
And let me tell you, I'm right there with you. And you are as well. You're probably ahead of us on the marketing and being online. But I will tell you, I graduated college in 2001. So that's 22 years ago. 22 years ago, this didn't exist. I think I had 100 minutes on a cell phone that were for emergency. Things have changed rapidly. But our mindset hasn't caught up with that because it feels a little bit icky to us. So as someone who has been working out of college for 22 years and in and around meetings, events, and the hospitality industry and at the corporate level, it's changed. And if we don't adapt, we're losing out. And it may feel icky to learn a new skill, but I can tell you how many people out there have had to learn Salesforce, right? Delphi, FDC. It wasn't something we were using before. I've talked to individuals who, from a catering standpoint, and we're booking, right? They've got their huge book that they're carrying around and they're going to see when they have space and they're erasing it. We've adapted and we've changed. So for someone who's 25 years in the industry, I actually have a great case study. Someone I worked with at Marriott, she introduced me to my first hotel job, and I trained her last year. And I would have thought she had thousands upon thousands of connections online, and she didn't. She had just over 1,000. And she said to me, I probably know 3 or 4 or 5,000 people. They are in my Rolodex. They're in an Excel spreadsheet. They're in my CRM, in my email. I never thought if I started sharing online that more of those people would see me. Instead of making a one-to-one connection every single time you need to message someone, I'm now able to reach more people. So this light bulb moment went off. And let me tell you, she's been with Marriott for 25 years.
Wow.
So that's why it is taking our Rolodex, our book of business, moving it online, because people are having connections and talking online. Millennials are spending 4 to 6 hours a day online and are moving into decision-making roles. So we have to find them where they're hanging out. So that's why if you're a veteran, it's just flexing a new skill. It's learning something new. It doesn't mean that whatever method has worked for you in the past isn't going to continue to work. But as hybrid work options still become available, as new generations enter the workforce and they work out of coffee shops or, are remote or in Slack channels, we have to adapt in order to build relationships where they are.
Love that. One of the analogy I've been trying to communicate is taking some old school examples and connecting those dots. And one thing that I try to tell my teams is that pretend LinkedIn is the world's largest MPI event, and it's right in front of you every day. You've got all these people right behind these doors, all the networking ability that you can do in little snippets each day, opening up those doors and be able to find specifically those individuals, not even the uncomfortable circles that you would walk up to and you're stuck in a conversation because you don't want to talk to me, you can't pull away. When you know how to use LinkedIn correctly, you can open up those doors and find exactly the conversation you want to put yourself in. You guys do a great job in person. You guys rock it at any in-person MPI event. Just pretend you're doing that exact same thing on LinkedIn every day. It's the same thing. Same
Absolutely. I had a conversation with someone yesterday who said, I get the concept of LinkedIn. I'm not sure in my job in business development for, they sell into military government contracts. I said, every time you get an RFP, walk me through the process. And she went through how she goes on LinkedIn, sees who else is working there. I said, why aren't you connecting with the people? And she said, I never even thought about it, right? I'm just using it as a research tool. I said, right, but what if you don't win this RFP? Could you then be engaging with that person on their content, providing value so that the next time you do win the RFP, they know what your name is? So as a veteran, I was talking to a team this morning because they were saying, you've just challenged us to add 50 to 75 connections to start to build our community. Where do we start? I said, in your email.
Yes.
Everybody who you're already doing business with, connect with them. And then who do they know? And who do they know? I mean, I love it. It's like being a detective in sales. And if you are a 25-year veteran and you're an introvert, maybe you've been in a little bit more behind the scenes, LinkedIn is an introvert's playground like myself because it's not face-to-face. You can leave video clips, but you can have relationships with someone via an email, right? Via a message, getting to know them without ever having to pick up the phone, and they feel like they know you.
That's, you're so spot on. One additional incentive for making that connection on LinkedIn, you're always connected with them no matter what job they switch to, right? Gone are the days of the frustration where you've got the Rolodex card. Oh, Sally Sue. But then you go to send her an email and it bounces.
The worst, right? Trying to keep up with where people are. And you can download your LinkedIn data. It is yours. So there's so many great benefits. I think we're just talking about marketing and selling with a new lens, and we have to be open and we have to challenge our senior leadership if they don't understand. There's so many statistics around top sellers are spending 6 hours a week on LinkedIn. Other sellers, only 10% of their time, they're still being effective on LinkedIn because they understand how to navigate and circumvent different areas of it. So if it is, I always ask this question whenever I'm training a team, who here has LinkedIn as part of your marketing strategy for 2023?
Crickets,
right?
Wow.
And then we start to show them, all right, let's say Amazon is your top account. Amazon has 870,000, probably more now, employees that are tied to the account. You could spend a lifetime connecting with just people at Amazon. So it is about becoming a master connector and almost gamifying it, because the more people you're connected with, it's like you go to that industry event, right? You were talking about, and everybody's like, oh, there's Sally. She knows everybody. Imagine knowing everybody online.
That's right. Take those skills and leverage it, 10x it, right? All these efforts, social selling, I talked to you about earlier about the importance of direct business, right? We know how important it is on the transient leads side, all the buzz about how do we get more direct bookings? Same thing applies for the business side.
Yes.
Absolutely. So how does being a well-connected digitally online seasoned social selling pro help you with direct business?
So once someone knows who you are, you make an impression, you keep showing up. Statistics have shown, this from a marketing standpoint, they have to see you 7 to 10 times before they take any action. So if we connect with someone and we never make any forward gains, we have a LinkedIn profile, that's not going to help you with direct bookings, right? Where that's like a wish, we're wishing that those RFPs come to us. You can take control of your business by creating a simple strategy. One would be to optimize your profile. We don't want someone to make up a story about us. Google favors LinkedIn. LinkedIn has 100 Moz rating, which means if you put someone's name in a Google search,
that's right,
10 times out of 10, their LinkedIn profile is going to show up first before a company paid website. So we want that free website to talk about our personal and professional brand. We tell the story. We optimize it so we show up in more search appearances. The more search appearances you show up in, the more times people will see you, the more direct bookings you're going to create because you're going to be top of mind. Secondly, LinkedIn rolled out a feature that I've seen one person in hospitality use. You are able to add a direct link under your name, under your headline, to your company's website. There's some statistics that say up to 50% of social media website traffic is coming from LinkedIn. So on social media, LinkedIn is driving 50% of that to your company's website. But if we don't have a website link, we are not enabling someone to click elsewhere. If you want to increase more website traffic to a certain web page, which I will defer to you on, what does that look like? Where are we sending people? Add it to your LinkedIn, right? It could be for hiring. Maybe you have a special event going on, a special something incentive for booking. Adding that in there allows them a clickable link to then go directly to your website. And we all know that when someone actually goes to your website, they have higher intent versus searching around for you.
There you go.
So those two things are going to amplify your status, your visibility as a seller online. And yes, we all want direct bookings, but that comes from being the loudest person out there. And LinkedIn allows you to do it for free. Brands are spending so much money on, hey, direct bookings, Expedia, no, booking.com, no. Yet Booking and Expedia are paying so much money to get that placement. You have top placement. Your name has top placement and you're paying this number of dollars for it. Use it to your advantage.
And because not a lot of people are doing exactly what you just described, the likelihood that your visibility is going to be standing out tremendously. You hit it right on the head. And LinkedIn just rolled out this new feature in articles. I don't know if you saw this. They're now going to rank articles with your title and keyword phrase. You could write a quick, short summary of the tips that you just did on team building or whatever your shtick is. There's so many amazing ways to stand out online, and online is exactly where your buyers are. They're not on the
most of us are doing that, right? You're a member of MPI, you're on the board, you're involved in a civic organization or religious or fraternal, you've won an award. Talk about it. Talk about what it's like to be an award winner, a female director of sales. I saw today a company was not announcing, but giving kudos to a female director of engineering. And I thought, whoa, this is like shocking. I'm not sure in 19 years, I've seen a director of engineering who's a female. Like, talk about some interesting perspective because it breaks the norm. But yes, all of that can be turned into, we're already doing all this. We're not just shouting it from the rooftops. If you want more direct bookings, start shouting from the rooftops the things that you're doing, what makes you unique and how you stand out, and then taking advantage of driving website visits, so to speak, to your LinkedIn profile, which is going to drive more direct inquiries to whatever page you're sending those individuals to.
Wonderful. Love it. Which means more direct business and we all talk about the likelihood of closing, booking that business is higher because you're not part of a bigger pool of opportunities that your meeting planner may have sent that to.
It's
So
higher intent.
yes.
Think about it, if you have a great LinkedIn presence, and I'm not talking anything I tell individuals, 5 or 10 minutes a day. We're not talking anything
Exactly.
shocking here. Sometimes an hour, but usually less. People start to know you in social circles, and you go up against Sally Smith on an RFP who has very similar features in their property, event space, you name it, but you've made those deposits at the bank, you've engaged, people know who you are. Relationships go further than transactions.
Absolutely. And especially in a cold situation, right? Where you've got Sally Sue and Mally May over here, both unknowns to the prospect, right? And they're trying to decide which one you're down to the last two. Sally Sue has been active, engaged, validating that they can execute a great event. It turned out fantastically well. In fact, social proof, we haven't talked about that, adding to that, which no one's doing either in the group or an event space, which we're going to touch on later, versus somebody unknown. Somebody's going to put their own reputation on the line for an event. Lord knows I have enough stress planning a high school party, let alone an event for my corporation that the CEO has tasked me with. I know nothing about events. Who do you think they're going to go with? And it may not even be price sensitive. Price might even be higher, but I can guarantee they're going to go with somebody that can demonstrate and execute on their promise.
Absolutely. And I will say, I've been saying this, and I don't know if it's going to come true, but I will put this out there. I believe that in 5 years' time, individuals at a company level, when you move to a company, the organization opens up a new role, someone is going to say to you, what are you bringing to the table? Right? What is your community? Talk to me about the reach and the visibility that you have. I know individuals, I know you have talked with Alexis. Alexis is millions of individuals.
I could bottle that from her, and she's got a really cool. In fact, she went off on her own, doing her own little shtick now, which is amazing. So yes.
Yeah. So I think it's as we look at how do we compete for business, imagine coming to someone and saying, yes, you may trust me with your piece of business and you found me online and we built this relationship, but let me tell you about the community I have and who else I can put you in touch with. Let me take the burden off of AV, specialty linens, whatever it is. And I'm one click away versus, let me get it in an email and I'll find that person's name and I'll get back to you. We're able to make these connections that go so many levels deep because we've built that community. So as you start bringing that to the table, it increases your value to organizations.
Especially now because people don't trust the media. It's at an all-time low. We're turning to friends and family for referrals now more than ever. And traditional advertising is in the tank for good reason. And we're going to people we trust, we know and trust, maybe not even like necessarily. And in fact, that's part of gap selling is people will work with somebody that they may not even like, but they trust and they know that they can execute on. That's such an important topic or element that he brought to the table. Really, really good points. What's the biggest misconception about social selling?
The biggest, I would say, is that our customers aren't online. And the statistics will show you that 4 out of 5 individuals on LinkedIn influence a decision at a company. So they are online. It may not be the final decision maker, but your first point of contact that you built up with may then give you a name, right? And our old methods are picking up the phone and calling and trying to find someone. I actually worked with a well-known brand, and someone's worked there for years and years and years. And I tried calling her, and her voicemail isn't set up. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, who uses that?"
So true. Oh man.
I mean, right, I guess, right? Someone said that to me today. Like, you don't have a phone number. It's like, I can't even remember the last time that.
Yeah. Now I don't have to take sales calls.
Someone outside of my family called me, like, it's not Zoom. Zoom is my phone number. Or
Right.
Teams, whatever that is. But we often think because I may not be there or it's uncomfortable to me, that means everybody else. And we have to look, 4 out of 5 individuals. There are over 850 million professionals on LinkedIn. Huge numbers. And when we start looking at decision makers, many of them are millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, and we spend a lot of time online because that's the way that tech forward companies have moved us. And how awesome is it that we are able to do more and connect with more people today than we could before? I mean, you've done email automations, you've set up newsletters to where you're reaching thousands upon thousands of people with one click. I talked to someone today who said, I probably send 1,000 emails a year to prospects, a 3-person shop. And I said, why not 1,000 a month, right? We have to change our thinking, and that just because we've done something in the past doesn't mean that tech hasn't improved and we now have access to reach more people in a shorter amount of time.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more.
Us humans, it's just this that gets in the way.
You started this by one of the most important things that was transformative for somebody in marketing. As a recovering graphic designer, it was all about gut, right? As soon as I took myself out and put myself in my prospect's shoes, it changed everything. And when you said you're looking at it through the lens of yourself, it can be an eye-opening experience to completely remove your personal bias and look at the numbers and the data and say 99.9% of the people that I'm trying to reach are online. They don't want to take my call. I might be great to talk to, but you're going to annoy them. They don't want to talk. Most millennials, God knows, my twin daughters, I can't get them to talk on the phone. They avoid me.
You could probably text them though. If you text them,
absolutely. Yeah. They will not pick up that phone. And as much as it frustrates me, if I need to I've got to play in their sandbox. And so I've learned that.
That's hard because we want to say, no, I'm right. And it's okay for us to say, this is uncomfortable. I need to learn.
Exactly.
And the way that our company runs, because for me, it's a lot of the red tape comes at that senior VP C-suite level but this isn't the way that we've done things, right? A lot of VPs of sales and marketing still telling me, well, and I'll see it all the time, our team's doing cookie blitzes and whatnot, and me thinking, you can be reaching 500 people today if your team was connecting with individuals online versus 35 that maybe you dropped off cookies to today. It's changing and being okay with this is different, and we're going to learn and we're going to adapt. It doesn't mean all of our old methods go out the window. It's just changed a little bit. And really, the next generation is going to dictate how they want to be, what relationship and how they want to be contacted.
Cookie Blitz 2025, right? Imagine sending 10 deliveries Instacart with a fortune cookie in it, and it said, meet me on Zoom, 4:45, I've got a surprise for you. That's a cookie blitz. And suddenly now you've scaled that and you've taken the annoyance out of the way, because I can imagine people rolling their eyes. You might have goodies in your hand. So some people are like, yeah, goodies.
Right. Sure.
But you're busy, you're out of control, and suddenly you've got strangers walking in your door. I can imagine now the eye rolls, oh my God, not them. Not now. It's a horrible time. So that's.
But the thing is, we're not even doing any discovery on the front end.
Exactly. Yep.
Is this worth our time?
Is this the right time? Absolutely. You're right.
Is this the prospect? Who do they know? Imagine sending 5 or 6 messages and someone saying, no, you need to connect with this person, and you doing that in a few minutes versus a couple of hours or a whole entire day. So yeah, I think it's unknown what will happen for the hospitality industry. And there's a major, let's say, supplier here in Denver. And years ago, we did a call because we had to do a blitz, right? And you had to, I think, 75 people in 2 days. And I went into their office and it said, grow or die. It was on the wall. Now,
oh no.
At the time, the CEO was probably like 30, so it was appropriate, a young tech company. But it has always stuck with me that as I was up against, like, this isn't the way that we do things and we don't challenge the norm, like, why aren't we challenging the norm? Businesses, as we've seen, right, the yellow pages, not so much anymore. But those that morphed, Sears, Roebuck, like, not so much. But those that have changed and adapted and brought in new streams, I just saw that Starbucks, right? They've seen people in other countries drinking a coffee with olive oil on the side. They're now taking a leap in order to go into that market because they've done the research. They see it's out there. Yes, it's a little bit outside of the norm, but if this is what is being dictated by a consumer, we've got to go there or else somebody else will.
Absolutely. Really, really good point. For somebody just starting out, is overwhelmed by it all, but is interested. They know they need to start doing something. So what would be the best tip for somebody that's looking to start out in social selling?
Build your community. Talk to as many people as you can. So the magic number on LinkedIn is 500 connections or followers. LinkedIn starts to see you as the formidable page once you reach that number. I was on a call today. There was one person above 500. Everybody has work to do. We've got to get to that number. Start small. Start with the people you're already interacting with every day. If you're in a role and you're getting emails from clients, you have customers, you have a CRM, shoot them a message on LinkedIn. We'd love to connect with you on this social network as well. Interested in staying in touch. But start sharing. There's something to be said about sharing your everyday life, documenting what is happening. That's what people want to see, right? Industry insights, what's happening, a trend, a best kept secret in the industry, the day in the life of. We are already doing this with our peers every single day as we have a phone call. Maybe we overcame an objection. Like, let's educate individuals about that. So it's just starting. And I start with build your network and connect with people, because in 5 or 10 years from now, if you have 20,000 people in your network, you're writing your own path for any role that you're in, and you're bringing massive value to any company that would be, so happy to have you as part of their team.
Absolutely. I will add a little, and I want to get your spin on this. Being selective of people you want to connect with, make sure that they themselves are not dormant. I made this bad mistake myself. When you building your community on LinkedIn and you want to reach out and you're sending a connection request, make sure that they're active themselves. But more importantly, they themselves are going to be very selective on who they let into their circle. So do not send a blind meeting request. It needs to have the why. And what I try to do is maybe even comment on a few of their posts so they recognize who I am. Obviously, I'm going to say something either funny or try to bring value or make a compliment. They're more apt, and then I'll follow up. And they want to know what you're going to bring to them if you join their community. So blind request or personalized request, what's your take?
I answered a post about not this, but it depends being one of my answers whenever I talk with someone, because sometimes it's not clear cut, right? If it's someone that you've been doing business with, they know of your name, you're just not connected, probably not a need for the why. I often will add a connection request. The only thing it prohibits us from doing is being able to follow up. Like there's no next step because we're waiting for that person to accept it. So you'll see two schools of thought about it. I always like to put in something that isn't generic and talks about either them, something they've done. I've done my research, the company, and 2 seconds to do.
Right.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I got a couple connection requests today from a company here in Denver. The company has over 500 employees. I started to go down the rabbit hole of, this is a little bit concerning that this company is selling B2B, a solution, a tech solution, and no one in the company is posting anything on LinkedIn. Wow. It says hasn't created anything. They're missing an opportunity. So I did send a connection request to a VP saying, I'm seeing some red flags. If you're open to having conversation on, seeing things through my lens, happy to chat about it, letting that person know why. Because yes, sending a blind connection request, if you have the title sales manager, director of sales, and you don't have that built out profile, automatically, I think they're going to sell me something.
Absolutely.
They're going to sell me something. And we have to set that story of, no, I want to build a relationship with you. If it leads somewhere or I'm able to offer you a referral, vice versa, amazing. But people are getting very savvy. So I'm team send a connection request. A couple of years ago, I wasn't. And I think that was because it was ungated a couple of years ago. You could send as many as you wanted. Now you're limited to 100 a week.
Putting my analogy of putting myself in prospect's shoes, I noticed myself not accepting anybody's request now without a personalization, unless it's like Kathy Ireland or somebody that I recognize that it immediately comes, which is not often, but I can tell you, if you don't give me a good reason why you want to connect with me, sorry, I'm just going to pass.
And we're getting pretty savvy of who's sending mass connection requests through a third party.
Absolutely.
We're pretty savvy. You can see through that if there's some red flags. So we would caution you. That's like walking up to someone at a networking event and let me see what I have here. And basically having your business card and just being like,
right. Yep.
I'm just throwing my business card at you and I'm not going to say anything. Like you want someone to receive that and put it in their pocket? Probably not. So buffering it a little bit with the why is awesome. And it really takes a second to do.